from Evan. Is this the one?
Yes.
Yep.
How far away are we from a causal AI that can adjudicate using T-law? That's a great question. I know if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have given a different answer. What?
I have an answer from Moritz under there, so somebody will have to read it.
Your question, well, you gonna read it or I gonna read it?
Well,
I can
you
read it.
read better than
Moritz
Okay.
says your question requires a bit of interactive disambiguation to make sure we understand what precisely you're asking. However, I, Curt, and others have explored the use, architecture, design, composition, and extension of the available set of tools over the last couple of months and believe that the tech is in a state where we can do meaningful things with it. The simplest thing you can do is just set up a powerful starting prompt, and thanks to custom instructions in ChatGPT, 2 sets of instructions that constrain and enable ChatGPT to support you in generalized reasoning. Depending on your own facilities with the method, it'll be easier or more difficult to get out of what you want. On the more complex end, we have possible paths for training an AI, and it took something like a combination of extensive training with good old-fashioned programming, and we are considering rewriting the Constitution in code rather than operational speech, but that would likely take away from completion of the Constitution as is. If you are interested in these topics, reach out to Martin. He will help you to get added to our AI chat.
Perfect. Yeah. So the basic difference is that the AIs are good at synthesis, but not analysis. And that whereas it knows how to write my style, it knows how to write the legal style. It knows most of the work already. So I mean, ChatGPT does. But in order to but when I ask it questions, it always gets something wrong. Right? Because it needs to favor our definitions over other definitions. And so it would take, what we would need to do is 2 basic things to train them in the future. In other words, we can use it today, but in the future, in other words, I would think today it would form a much better search engine than any other search engine for asking questions. However, the point where we want to get it to where is where it gets those largely right, is that's going to require we train it with a bunch of questions, a couple of 100 questions. And that's not that difficult, really. The second thing what's going to require is that its code interpreter, which is it's really their data manipulation AI. That thing is really good if you give it code, and almost everything we do can be expressed as object-oriented programming. So relatively easily. So we could take the Constitution's part of all this stuff and we could put it in that form, and it'd be very easy to have it understand that and perform logic, because it's really good at synthesis, but it's not good at logic. And what they're doing right now, if you look at where most of the work is going, it's going in to try to fix the logic problem. And fixing the logic problem is basically breaking things down into steps and then testing them. And so that requires more compute. And so we expect this direction to happen. So one of the things I look at is at the rate it's moving right now, it doesn't pay for us to invest in it, invest in doing this early work, when the rate of change is making it easier literally every week to do what we want. And in the end, it should be able to write law as code. It should be, because that's what you should be able to write law as code.
Yeah. At the very least, be able to parse the language to ensure it can only result in one parsing tree. It can't be ambiguous. And then to be able to compile it such that it actually passes the compilation test.
Correct.
And of course, you can still write a bunch of garbage that doesn't do anything, because just because the program compiles doesn't mean it'll run. But at least those 2 things you got to be able to pass.